Welcome to the Atomic Impact Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Osborn, and on this podcast, we interview successful business owners for them to share atomic, impactful lessons that they've learned throughout the course of their business that we can learn as well. As always, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of these old traditional methods that everybody hates. We use this method about 26 qualified leads and sales calls in 10 days without any ad spend, outreach, or endless social media posting. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborne on LinkedIn. It will be in the show notes below for the link. But on today's show, our special guest is Nayantara Kochhar. She's the owner of Passion Profits, where she's coaching people looking to start a consumer brand. So, Nayantara, thank you so much for being on the show today. I want to start off with asking you a question that I always love to ask, which is this. If you were to start over in your business, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently in the first 12 months?
I would never spend money on inventory. I would talk to my customers from day zero and I would validate everything that I've assumed about them, my product that I'm selling, why anyone should buy it at the price I'm selling, way before I actually even finalize anything. And I speak only from my experience because I've made all those mistakes. So I would never spend money on inventory before launch.
Okay, yeah. So you're basically, if I'm reading between the lines, you want to test that product market fit
Yes,
to see
and
if there's
one product.
actually,
One
okay.
product for one customer solving one problem. Yeah.
I love that. I tell people all the same thing. I mean, most of my clients don't actually sell physical products. Most of them provide some sort of service, but it's the same thing. It's like focus on one thing, one avatar, one platform, and just
Yeah.
go from there.
And my biggest learning, I've been doing this for about a decade now, is I used to love to overcomplicate things, everything from like the number of products I had, how many price options I had, how many variants I had, to how many people I defined as my customer. And now I do everything that is the opposite of what I just said. And I think my biggest lesson, apart from like don't spend money on inventory, launch with one product, is that you have to kind of simplify everything from day zero. And the
Mm.
reason I think that it works is because it's very easy to scale what is simple. And so you keep reiterating what is working, testing, A/B testing, experimenting. At every point, ask your customer. And customers love being asked questions. They love being involved. Sometimes as founders, we shy away because we think we're being very nosy, but actually customers love being involved. So simple sells and simple scales. Yeah.
Love that. I love that. Yeah, great, great advice.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, talking about one product, one market, all of that, what's been the hardest thing to scale what you're doing without coming across like salesy and spammy in what you do?
I think the hardest, so I run multiple businesses, but at the core, my customer is like the same person. And so I always think of my customer as a woman who's like anywhere between age 28 to I would say 45. And so we have one brand that does home decor and furniture, and it's more targeted to women who are in rental homes. And then I have a footwear brand that is also targeted at them. Now, every time I come up with a new idea to expand, which is pretty often, and at the validation stage, you have to be like, no, scrap it, it doesn't work. Stay true to who your customer is. I think, you get muddled up in your head as a founder because you start to get too married to your idea. And I think when you have to like cut through the noise, just talking to your customer and constantly asking them the question, would you buy this? Does it help you? Will you tell other people that you like this after buying it? If you can get a yes, yes, yes for that, you're onto something. And for many years, I shied away from doing all of that because I thought it made me seem like I don't have my shit figured out, or like, why do I need to keep asking them questions? I should know all of this. So, that whole trap of like founder assumptions can actually be very detrimental. And I think a founder who doesn't get married to their idea or their product or their service business idea, but actually says that, hey, at every stage, I'm going to treat this like an experiment. I'm going to keep validating and do like micro experiments. I think you're better off as a founder as well. And what you put out into the market is a better offering for you having taken those steps.
Yeah, yeah. Such great advice on that. Absolutely. Really, really. Is there when you're working with people around that, do you find that there's a challenge for people to go into that mode that you just talked about? And if so, what's that challenge?
My biggest challenge when I work with people one on one is usually the people who come work with me one on one are at a stage where they have multiple ideas. And it's that chaos of like the ideas in their head and their inability to prioritize which one to go with, because that comes from the pressure of picking one product. It kind of muddles them up. It's like, wait, I want to be profitable from day one. So I'm going to launch multiple products and I'm going to test different price points and I'm going to sell everywhere. I'm going to be on Amazon, I'll be on Shopify, I'll be in a physical store. Initially you need like a proven path and then you replicate that across platforms or markets or you expand who your customer is. But I think the biggest challenge I see when I work with first-time founders is they're so sure without doing any validation. And so when I poke holes in their theory, like who told you that this is good? Who told you you should sell it for like $150? Who told you that's your customer? Did you ask them? Have you done the maths behind your pricing? Do you know what your like fully landed cost is? Why are you pricing it at like 97? Like why should it not be 67? So these kind of things, it's like you're busting a very strong belief in their mind and they're kind of like a little bit resistant to anything that doesn't feed into like a positive affirmation. I
Yeah,
find that is my biggest challenge. Like to tell people that, hey, hang on, you don't need my validation, and definitely we don't need yours. We need the paying customers' validation. Let them tell you that there's like merit to what you're building, what
yeah,
you're selling, where you're selling it, how much you're selling it for. Let them tell you that, everything works. And they'll do that when they buy. So if they don't
yeah.
buy, that's a signal. If they're buying too much, maybe you have room to increase your price. Maybe you can bundle things. Maybe you can cross-sell other products that you have. So
Mm,
I find that very often people are too married to a concept or an idea and they're a little hesitant to do any kind of validation because it may kind of go against what they believe.
yeah. They don't want to be proven wrong because it's too
And
emotionally.
humans, like it's hard, right? It's hard
Yeah, yeah,
to take that.
yeah. Totally, totally get that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, what's one thing that you've changed in how you build relationships that has made selling feel easier for you?
I think that I just talk to people without without any judgment of myself as a founder for talking to them. Especially when I'm talking to someone where I think that they could be a customer. I think I like to ask them leading questions and get them to say yes or no before I know whether I should even tell them about my product. I didn't have that skill earlier. I used to throw my product at them and then get upset if they didn't buy. And
Yeah.
now I've learned how to understand who is this person who I think could potentially be my customer. And I'm speaking for my brands. Are they going to be? And if they're not, then what about them is not like fitting my customer persona? And I think
Mm,
that has really helped me remove the pressure. So I just talk to them as like humans. I'm not constantly like trying to sell. I've
yeah.
removed that the selling part of it from the equation.
Yeah. Well, you've said something that I tell people all the time is you talk to them like humans,
Yeah.
which
We
is
forget,
like,
we forget.
yeah, it's so crazy. It's like, yeah, just talk to people like normal human
Yeah.
beings instead of trying to just
Yeah.
sell all the time, you
Yeah.
know?
And try to humanize your brand. I know it sounds much easier, but if you start to think of your brand as a human, selling becomes very easy because either that brand connects with your ideal customer or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, that's also really good because now you know who isn't your target customer.
Mm,
So this method of humanizing your brand, I think has been like a game changer for me.
yeah.
We're always taught to like create a user persona. Fine. It's so easy to do that for a human, but to do that for a brand, like if my home decor brand was like a person, number one, would she be male or female? I already said would she be. So, where do they live? What do they do? What do they like? Where do they spend their money? What is in their universe of things that they do on a daily basis? And then you start to figure out, okay, so people who are like this will be my customers. And they're already spending money on these other allied places and brands like food or delivery or like subscriptions. So now I can kind of use all that information to be like, so this is like, if my brand was a human, this is what he or she would look like.
Yeah. That's really good. That's really good. When you talk about humanizing things, is there any, you've already talked about like if it's a brand, like thinking of who they would be, but just generally, is there any top tips that you found that works to have your ideal target market feel like they're actually being spoken to as a human being?
I write all my ad copy and copy on the website as though it's one person talking to another person.
Mm,
I learned how to do that very late in life,
yeah.
but I'm better off for it now. This whole thing of be in the shoes of your brand like a human and write the way you would talk to your customer face to face. It changes everything. So now
Yeah.
you're not selling benefits, you're not selling features, you're not selling price. You're just saying, you got a problem, I have a solution. This is why I think this might work. This is what I've got, this is what it'll do for you, this is how much it costs, and here's why you can get it. That's it.
Yeah. 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 Simple.
Yeah, simple, really simple. Almost like
Yeah.
grade three English simple. Yeah.
Well, I know. Well, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
the we overall off just overcomplicate
Yeah.
things that we do
I've
with
been
it.
guilty of
So
doing it, so now I catch myself doing it and I'm teaching people I work with to do it. And sometimes they're like, oh my God, that's so basic. And I'm like, seriously, but that's why it works.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's why it works. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, what's the biggest challenge that you have faced in your business so far, and what's the lesson that you've learned from that?
So when I started out, Jason, I used to have a team of 20 people. I had an office. I spent all my money on inventory without ever checking if my customers would ever buy that from me. I had a really fancy website that I paid a designer to do. I was the epitome of overcomplicating everything. And now, for the last 1.5 years, I've been running everything solo. And I think running a business in 2026, you can do it solo, and there's no limit to how much you can grow it. It's just that you have to figure out what are my core strengths and what are my weaknesses, and how much of my weaknesses can I like automate or give to a freelancer, take away from my plate. So I will only make strategic decisions that move the needle in business, and I will take stock either once a week or once a quarter or once a month, whatever works for you. But this whole notion of I need a large team in order to have a large business, I think that notion has now been busted.
Mm, yeah, no, I love that.
Including businesses like mine that are consumer businesses that are product led. I don't run any inventory on my own. I don't like ship any orders on my own. I've automated everything.
Yeah, that's
But
awesome.
that's
That's
not
so
how it
cool.
used to be.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's very cool. Well, if we look over the next 2 to 3 years, like what are your goals? What would you like to achieve in the business?
My goal for the next 2 to 3 years is to launch one more brand that's also feeding into like my existing customer. So I'm thinking of launching something in the wellness space. Don't have a concrete idea because I haven't gone and spoken to people and validated it. But I want to close, and this is like a personal goal for myself. I want to close the loop for this woman. So right now I meet her home and interior needs and I meet her fashion needs with footwear, but I don't feed her from inside. So something that's like self-care and wellness, but it's more internal. And I don't know whether I'm gonna go down like a skincare route or a wellness, like, I don't know, some experiential thing or some medicinal thing. So that's on the business side of it. On the coaching side of it, I want to be able to reach more and more people at a lower entry barrier. Right now, the barrier to entry is myself. I only work with 6 people a month one-on-one. And that model has worked well for me. But now that I've automated my businesses, I have a little bit more time and I want to fill that in with coaching. I want to work with people at an even earlier stage. Uh,
Mm,
just from the time that they have an idea that, I want to one day sell a product and I've never sold anything. Forget even having a brand or a business, or it could just be on a Saturday and Sunday every week.
mm,
So I want to make myself a bit more accessible. So
yeah, that's amazing. That's
yeah, I don't know
amazing.
how I'll do it, but baby steps.
Well, I believe you'll get there for sure. Absolutely. Well, for people that are wanting to find out a little bit more about what you do and get in touch with you, what's the best place for them to do that?
Instagram or LinkedIn. So Nayantara Kochhar, just easy to find me. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I definitely recommend everyone going checking out Antara. It's been a great privilege having you on
Likewise,
and just
Jason.
hearing, yeah, well, appreciate that. Just hearing a lot of your journey, which has been absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for being on. And
Thanks for
as a
having me.
reminder, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. And as a reminder for everyone listening, this show is sponsored by the LinkedIn Reverse Podcast Method, the new way to close deals that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods that everybody hates. To find out more, direct message me on LinkedIn to have a chat. That's Jason A. Osborn, and the link to that will be in the show notes below. And until next episode, stay inspired.